What is up, guys? This is a question I get asked literally all of the time, so I thought I'd finally make a video about it. Now, I've taken a lot of time looking at this to bring you ADs that will be good across patches consistently. It's not just ones that are really good now. You could watch this video in 6 months and it should still be spot on. This is another video with the folks over at ProGuides helping me out with the editing, and you can check the guides and Genius feature down below. Like this if you did, dislike it if you don't, and let me know what you guys think in the comments and what's working for you. But let's jump into the video. So the stuff I mainly looked for when working this stuff out were mobility, so we can keep ourselves safe, because let's be honest, not many people at lower ranks peel. Even at higher ranks they don't peel either. The ability to carry, so we don't have to rely on our team as much, and how easy it is to have an impact and do our job. These are the things that I actually look for myself when I really want to climb and carry harder. Now the first one is Misfortune. Not really that mobile, but packs a serious amount of damage and is very easy to play and dominate a game with. ADs in general don't have that high of a win rate in bronze, silver and gold honestly, but Misfortune is one that does consistently well no matter what patch we're on. Her laning phase is super easy, a decent range, a speed up to avoid some damage if you need that, a very long range, easy trade, which is very hard to deal with as well. The long range trade we're talking about is her Q mostly, but I guess we can also kind of count her E if we max that as well. Her Q is hard to dodge if you want to CS, it's just that kind of natural thing to walk up behind your creeps, because that's what we do in every matchup. Misfortune is designed to punish that habit, and it's really hard to adapt or to like find a way to avoid it when you're actually in a game. Apart from that poke there, we literally just have one job. We press R and your ult takes care of the rest. I don't think any other AD carry can have that kind of level of impact so easily by just pressing one button. We can deal with tanks pretty well with our W attack speed and the amount of crit and AD we build, but our team fight is so deadly because we can stand right at the back and just press R. I genuinely think this is the best AD carry for bronze. A huge lane bully, very easy and very high damage. Now Caitlyn is next up, pretty deadly, but we do have this kind of problem where if we lose your lane then you're pretty useless. Unlike almost everyone else on this list, we're very auto attack reliant. So we're decent in lane, we have a bit of a dip mid game, and then when we have more items we start to wreck. Now normally this is not the best playstyle for lower elo. We actually ideally want to stall out the mid game and wait for our crazy late game, but it's not likely our team is actually going to do that, let's be honest. She fits kind of everything else we're looking for though. Her net makes catching her difficult, plus actually very deadly. If you net and instantly Q, you'll fire the Q from where you were standing before. They'll be hit with the net, Q, and then a headshot auto. It is insane amount of damage. But yeah, so mobility is okay. Ability to carry is there. We have that high range, good damage, and a good lane phase. Basically, we're picking Caitlyn here because of her high range, her ability to auto and poke constantly in lane. She can stay safe and carry super hard late game. If you're not the most comfortable AD in the lane phase, then Kate is a good starting point. Like, she's one of the simplest, has high range to farm with, and you don't really have to focus on too much either. No matter what elo you're in, Caitlyn's kit is decent and you can snowball the lead you get from the lane phase. Now if you do get behind, you're going to struggle a little bit, but you should always be able to get at least some farm, and then if they don't end quick enough, you'll take over and be so hard to deal with in a team fight. Ezreal is one that I might get some stick for here, but in my opinion he is one of the best AD carries to climb the whole way to diamond with. There is a really big difference between a bad Ezreal who just doesn't even auto attack and a really good one, but once you get to grips with him you have everything you could want and you can basically 1v9. Your lane phase is not going to be as good as the others here, but you can still win it with a few smart fights and your constant poke too. The biggest problem you'll actually ever have isn't with like champions or anything, it's going to be with minions. They're going to block your Q and that is most of your damage. You can just farm with your Q from range though, you can spam spells constantly and you're super safe with your shift as well. He's also one of the best AD carries for playing with a bad support. That's another thing that I get asked about all the time, and you know the kind of the ones who just sit behind you and expect to be carried? Even with those you can farm from range, you can still get gold and you can still poke. Now most other AD carries need their support to start fights or do something to help them. You don't really. Blue build is good still, the kiting means nobody can ever get close and it's really hard to play against a good Ezreal who is constantly slowing you. In team fights you don't really need your team to help you that much at all. You can slow, you can jump around, and you can do a lot of damage from much further away. It does sound weird, but how many times have you been too afraid to get into a fight and auto attack because they could just turn on you and kill you? Everyone does it. It's one of the most common problems with AD carry in general, and Ezreal solves this completely. You don't need to get that close, you can just fire your Q and auto attack when it's safe. Now most of you are probably expecting Lucian and wondering when he'd appear appear on here. He's so common right now, but even if he ends up getting nerfed, his overall kit is just great for carrying bad teammates. Kit-wise, I don't think there's actually any other AD carry that can keep up with him. He has a very low cooldown dash, he can poke and he can wave clear with his Q. He can do damage from range with his ultimate and even burst people down as well. Essence Reaver is one of the biggest reasons why his mid game is just so overpowering right now. Like, the cooldown on his abilities means more damage from them and more passive auto attacks, which most other AD carries just can't keep up with. This is definitely like the choice if you're more of an aggressive player. You have that ability to get ahead way more in lane. You can do more early, and if you're better when playing with a lead, he is a very solid choice. As most ADs should be, you're really good at killing people, you're good at farming with your Q, good at poking with that too, and he just has everything we want. A dash, damage to carry with, and it's quite easy to do it all. The reason I didn't mention him earlier is because Ezreal and Caitlyn actually should do pretty well against Lucian. They outrange you with their poke, and they also have good disengage if you ever go aggressive. So Lucian is not like as free win as people think he is, but he is definitely like the Thresh of AD carries. Can be picked in any lane matchup, any game, and do consistently well. Now Sivir is one that's kind of the opposite to Lucian actually. You're not designed to win your lane, you're not really going to stomp anyone super hard, but you have a really high impact anyway. At high elo, Sivir is joked about as the brain dead AD carry. You can be terrible at the role, but you can just survive the lane, ult people into fights, and press W to do huge damage. This is the exact same at lower ranks as well. She has a very straightforward lane phase, and her job is pretty basic but very high impact, which is the dream. That is what we want. In lane, we aren't actually super strong. We have low range and high cooldown poke abilities, which means in an actual fight, they're likely going to do more damage than us. The good thing though is we can just push and push with our W and force the enemy AD under tower. Unless they actually fight you and force you away, which I honestly doubt they will, then there's nothing they can really do. So in theory, right, we have a free lane phase, pushing all the time, you can't complain. Team fights, we literally just group, we press R and we run at people. Spell shield is there for anything nasty, and we press W to hit everyone in a fight. It is honestly gross how much damage you can output to even the backline carries. Like the enemy AD carry, that bouncing is just so easy. You hit one target at the front and it does the rest for you. With the current like rework kit and how the W works, it's very straightforward to have a high impacting carry. That is what we're looking for and why she's here. Now Jinx is a bit more risky, and that is why I left her until last. The thing is, nobody carries as hard as a Jinx does if she gets rolling, and nobody carries as easily either. She is one of the famous old school right click champions. Let's be honest, in team fights you aren't really going to switch your Q stance that much, and you won't use your W for damage either. You just rocket people from far away until they die. Jinx's lane phase is pretty average really. You do decent damage, but you aren't anything special, and you can get bullied pretty heavily. So the thing is, actually it's two things, okay? The first is that it isn't just a bot lane 2v2 game. If you get ganked for, then you get a few kills, you will snowball and it'll be such an easy game. Second thing is, Jinx is one champion who, even if you get behind on, you'll still do a buttload of damage, and one kill or assist in a team fight will send you into hyper mode and nobody can touch you or escape you. She is not your traditional low elo AD carry. She's not super mobile, not super safe, not a lane bully, but she does have crazy amounts of damage and it's easy to do that damage. Some of the others on here, well actually all of the others on here have some utility or kind of extra benefit to their team apart from their damage, but Jinx isn't like that. She doesn't care about your traps or speed up, she just wants to hit things until they die. If you're more of a passive player in lane, you're a good team fighter and you want to just hard carry games, then Jinx can be super rewarding to play. You are weak to assassins, you won't get much peel, and these are the risks you take by picking her, but as far as snowballing goes and winning games when you're ahead, then Jinx does it better than most. The last little thing is Vayne. I know a lot of people are going to ask about her in the comments. So yes, she can hard carry a game, yes she's super fun, but she's also short range and difficult to team fight with, plus difficult to lane with actually. In some metas, especially more passive ones, Vayne will stomp everyone and she does become a huge problem, but this video is about in general. To be honest, in assassin metas or like this meta now, she just gets crapped on in lane and then crapped on by AoE damage mid game too, or damage that outranges her. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks again to Pro Guys for editing this together. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, share, but for now, let's go to the robots.